Hello, hello. Happy Friday. How we doing, Johnny Mo?
Oh, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm fighting off either some allergies or a cold. Can't tell which one it is, but we rally through.
Yeah, I think I gave it to you.
Yeah, probably. There are some things you're good at sharing.
Yeah, I was sick last week. I feel like, I got to go to the ER because I'm a wimp.
You got that man cold.
That's the man cold. I need attention.
I will say that obviously allergies or cold kind of mess up the week, but these short weeks always mess me up. I spend the whole week trying to figure out what day it actually is and where I'm supposed to be, and I don't know. Those short weeks always mess me up.
Yeah. Nah, I just
So
keep going.
they all blend, right? Good. Well, so I wanted to dive in today with you, get into some lead generation, get into some personal branding. I've had a lot of conversations lately. A lot of agents right now are asking a lot of questions about, where can I go find some deals? Where can I find some stuff that's a little bit more now? And also, I'm seeing there's a lot of movement around the industry. What brokerage should I be at? Should I join a team? Should I not join a team? And I think in most cases, it doesn't matter, and we can explain a little bit about why. So let's um let's dive into some lead gen stuff here, Johnny Mo. So we always preach, kind of three legs to that stool. You need your database, you need something that actually draws business into you, and then you need a way to actually go out and get business through a more active means. So one of the things we've been talking a lot about lately is the database, utilizing that network of people you already know to continue to bring value to them. And I want to get your take on this because I talked to Cynthia Castillo earlier this week about, kind of database engagement. And one of the biggest mistakes I see is that we put people on these auto plans, these canned auto plans. Um, and these blanket emails go out. They're very generic. They're very vague. And we wonder why people don't respond to them. So Johnny Mo, in your opinion, an auto plan or a smart plan, whatever you want to call it, that is not a database strategy, correct?
I don't. I mean, it kind of is, but it's kind of not. Okay, so it's the absolute minimum. And if I'm slurring, I had tooth stuff going on today, so I'm still numb as can be. Um, I think it's the absolute. To answer the question, no, it's not a true database strategy. It's a minimum requirement, though,
Mm,
for any kind of cold lead that's coming in. Okay. So, yeah, you need a smart plan set up to respond to the lead and stuff like that. But there
mhm.
comes a point that you need to have some human intervention. Okay. But as far as your database, your past clients, even cold people, your sphere of influence, there's got to be something more to that because the canned emails, everybody knows they're canned.
Mhm.
And, if you look at the canned emails, especially for your database, your true database, in my opinion, sphere of influence, past clients, they don't need that little one liner. That little one liner is just simply to try to get an engagement, to get a response.
Right.
So out of the 1,000 emails that went out, some but two people responded. So you can jump in and say, oh, hey, I'm here and
Yep.
take over. As far as trying to nurture business or get business from your database, you need something deeper. You need something more authentic. You need something more personal. In order to do that, I think if we get too reliant on technology, that we actually end up, we think that we're getting more because we're seeing some result, but
Mhm.
I think we're actually getting less because you're tuning out that lion's share. 67, 70% of your business should be coming from your database, sphere of influence, referrals. If you're not there, then you might be burning your audience out with inauthenticity.
Yep. Yeah, and well, we did this nurturing your database live stream earlier this week. Cynthia had a great point, um, in that kind of the out of the box auto plans, they're like the minimum standard. They're like the starting point, the baseline, as you mentioned, it's kind of like the minimum requirement. That is like step number one. That's like rookie level. At least you're doing something which is better than nothing. But then you start to think about going up a level from there. So where do you go from a canned auto plan? Well, you go to something a little bit more personalized. Where do you go from there? You go to something that's actually truly personalized. It's actually written by you, that's in your voice, that sounds like something you would send. And then you go up another level and you start to get into things like curated content, which is, articles or blogs or videos or things you're sending to maybe all of your database or maybe just segments of your database that's going to be interesting to them. And part of that could be things like a newsletter, which has got community events and new businesses and highlights what's going on in the area. But you got to think about it in the terms of canned auto plan is the baseline level one first step. Step number two is adding a little personalization to that. Step number three is truly personalizing that. And then step number four is getting into actual curated content that audience is going to like. Because you got to keep in mind, this database, these are people or you've had some level of interaction with. These are not random people you've never dealt with. These are people that you most likely have some level of experience with. So
Yeah.
when you go to talk to them, they're expecting that you know a little bit about them versus some sort of just generic auto response, which you can get away with when you've never interact with somebody before.
And that's why, the methodology that I follow is, and that we um push at Explore My Town is, you know, the Gary Vaynerchuk methodology. I say it every time. It's not like we do anything new, but consider yourself a media company. When you see my blogs go out, they do not look like a real estate blog.
Right.
That's intentional. Okay. They look like something I look at. I can be bigger than the individual. I want to be bigger than the individual. So with the new listing that I just took, it looks like an article was done on that particular piece, and the video's embedded in there, and my contact information's in there. And you want to learn more? Click on the link. That level of curated content, I think, is important. Finding out who's going around, who's got the best barbecue, or the new restaurant that just opened up, and write a blog about that. And then you can take that blog and put it into your newsletter. Look, you got to do this stuff anyways, or you should be doing it anyways. What I see is, you ever been to a chicken farm and you see all the chickens?
Hmm.
Right, that's what I feel our industry is. It's just a whole bunch of chickens going lead, 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 or on Nemo, mine, mine,
Nice.
mine, mine.
I
Where
love those.
you got to be different. You got to stand out. So if you can write an article, write a page with some search engine optimization in it about barbecue in your area, about who's got the best vegetarian, right? What do you like? I say live through you. Make the content that you enjoy making, and then it's not really like work. You make a video, you can have that transcribed. Now you got a blog, you can expand that. All this can be done with AI like this.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden you got good content on you. That's why I say video, digital, and social. They all go together. You have too many gurus out there talking about, build a following and social media this. They don't talk about what I think is more important than social media is the digital aspect, because you control most of these digital assets where social media, you don't.
Right. Right. And I I tell people all the time, when you're sending something to your database, whether it's text message, email, whatever, and usually it's going to be via email because it's the easiest way to get to a large audience is via email. So what about what you're sending somebody is getting them to stop and open it? Because think about your own personal inbox. It's full of spam, random offers, junk. And oftentimes the headlines are basically telling you it's junk, or the subject is telling you it's junk. So what does that stuff get? It gets deleted. So what about what you're sending out is going to get people to actually pay attention and open it up? And what happens or what works is by giving people things they want. They don't want a random email from you just checking in to see if you got any plans to buy or sell this year. Nobody wants that email. Now, great that you sent it. It's better than nothing, but nobody actually wants to get that email. Nobody's going to stop and be like, "Oh man, I can't believe John sent me this message. I can't wait to read it." No, that's not what they're reacting to. But when you send them a newsletter with great community information, or you send them your latest video, or you send them the latest blog article with a little spiel about why this is important to you or to them, you've got their attention. Because what I remind people all the time is, the person you're communicating to is getting communicated to by 5, 6, 10, 20 other agents. They're in a lot of databases because we all know a lot of people. So what's happening is that they're going to work with the person that communicates with them the best. And the way to communicate with them the best is to give them a reason to engage and pay attention to your stuff. Because if you're sending curated content to somebody and everybody else is sending canned drip campaign emails, you're going to win. But if you're the one sending the canned drip campaign emails and everybody else is sending curated content, you're going to lose no matter how many times you send that stuff.
Yeah. Listen, let's just, and this is where I know in your area, right? Let's just use, I'm going to use York
Hmm.
Harbor. right? And then I'm going to go a couple towns up, and I'm going to go to from York. We're going to go up to Agunquit. Okay, next town up, basically, right?
Yep.
So in York, over at York Harbor, now this is where knowing your area is important, right? Now, not every area is going to have what we have, what I'm about to say, but every area has something cool.
Mhm.
We're along probably one of the prettiest places in the country, which is the rocky and flat and sandy shores of Maine.
Mhm.
Okay, and so if I go to York and I do a walk along York Harbor Walk, right, park down at the York Harbor. Actually, I ain't even going to do that with my Vitalin V3 e-bike. I'm going to park out in the parking ride. I'm going to take my
Right.
e-bike all the way in. I'm not even going to look for a parking spot, right?
Nope.
And that's why I have it. But now I'm going to walk along the ocean. In Kittery, there's a place over at is it Fort McCleary?
Yep.
Yeah, right. There's an awesome walk along the ocean.
Yep.
I
It's a
can
great
bring a
spot.
picnic bag, right? I can sit down. There's some benches out there. I can find this amazing place to eat where the Piscataqua meets the Atlantic Ocean, and it's absolutely breathtaking. And eat my sandwich, maybe even indulge in a glass of wine if I want to, right?
Yep.
And sit there and enjoy myself. And now when I can tell people, or I walk along the marginal way, hey, did you guys know about this walk over at Fort McCleary? This place is amazing. If you're looking for a family get together, come on and let's take a quick look at Fort McCleary, the place in your backyard you didn't even know about,
Mhm.
right? Now all of a sudden, there's something there for them to stop and look and watch. And I can tell you that I get more compliments on YouTube, online, and through my newsletter than I do on those videos than I do on anything else. They're like, "Oh my God, these videos are great. Thank you for sharing." And that is opening the door all over the place. As a result, just took a $625,000 listing. I don't know if that's a lot in your area, but it's a lot to me.
I mean, there's parts of the country that is 2 or 3 times the median price point, and that is above the median price point here in Maine, but, maybe not if you're on the coast of California, but 625 is a pretty solid listing. I mean, and honestly, in this market, Johnny Mo, taking any listing can be considered quite the accomplishment because
Any.
we've got no inventory. We've got little to no inventory. We got buyers all over the place trying to find stuff. I mean, I had a buyer last weekend, made an offer at 20,000 over asking price, 30-day close, super clean, and lost to somebody who made an even better offer. And that's the nature of the market we're in right now, where because there's so little inventory, buyers are going crazy. But taking any listing right now is a win.
Any listing's a win. I don't care what market it is. Signs in the ground beats no signs in the ground.
Hmm.
So, back to the original point. You want to. This is the core philosophy. When people ask me, "Hey, give me one piece of advice about how somebody can start," I'm always going to come right back to this. And I've very simplified my life, and I try not to deviate away. And I stay right. I stay right on the core. No need to change the core. Tell stories about interesting people, places, and things in your community.
Yep.
That's it. And I get it. And sometimes it's weird. I went to do a place the other day. Place was packed. I opted to order takeout, and I did my review in the car. Right. I just there was just too many people there. I was uncomfortable. I don't like doing it. Okay. I don't enjoy going into a restaurant, sitting down, eating in front of the camera, and doing my review and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I do it because it's content. I
Hmm.
do it because it allows me to engage with the community. I do it because it's something better than the same mindless garbage that's out there. And now all of a sudden, as a result of going to try this place with chowder and haddock and lobster rolls, right? I got dozens of reviews. I now can make a page that's dedicated to what I consider the world's best seafood is North Atlantic seafood. And now all of a sudden I can make blogs about each individual place or
Hmm.
who's got the best chowder. And I got all this content that I can continue to make day after day, week after week. I have no end to the content that I can create. So when everybody else is running around with, oh, what can I create? What can I do? Oh my God, I need to make something. Let me do something stupid on Facebook so I can get some vanity metrics, so I can get the dopamine to go, oh, they liked it. I don't give a crap who likes my stuff on social media. I don't care. My intention isn't for that. My intention is engagement, conversation, and being able to elicit that response, but to deliver something that's authentic because everybody eats. Now, if you're not into seafood and you're into vegan stuff, listen, Keep an eye out for the vegan series that I do. Right? Um, it's real simple. Give the people what they want, but be different. Just simply be different, be authentic, be yourself.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, hard to argue that point. And I go back to, I think NAR stats was always that one out of 8 people or 1 out of 8 families move every year. So that's 15%. Now let's hedge that way back and call it 5%. If you're communicating at a high level with your database, at least 5% of those people in that database should be moving this year or know somebody who's moving this year. So that is a huge, huge opportunity for you to communicate well and generate what could be a substantial amount of business. If you have a 100 names in your database, that's potentially 5 transactions that comes out of that. Now you take that to 1,000 people and you just continue to build that database up. You could actually build an entire business just off of that database because you've taken such good care of them and done such a good job communicating with them. So the moral of the story here is that when you get somebody's contact information and permission to stay in touch with them, the better you communicate with them, the more you will get from that. If you just ignore your database and chase the right now business through other means, all those people sitting there that may need help will forget about you. And you've now lost that opportunity to generate that business that, in theory, you wouldn't be competing for if you just communicated with them. So leave everybody with that thought on the database piece. Let's jump to the next one, Johnny Moe. And one of the things that we've had a lot of success with, and I've had a lot of success with myself, is direct mail. And not direct mail in the sense of sending spammy offers and postcards and that kind of nonsense, but sending something that gets somebody's attention. So in many cases, that's some kind of a letter. A lot of people love the golden letter, but it could also be a letter that has news on the community or most recent stats and explanation of what's going on. You could in theory send people almost like a blog article that's printed and mailed to them, sharing information about what's going on in their area. So I was talking to somebody the other day and I said, well, if you're afraid to send something so direct as like the golden letter, which is like, call me, then why not send them the latest stats in the marketplace and a summary of what that means to them, and then your contact info. Like, that's simple enough. But the beauty of direct mail is that if you interrupt somebody with that or catch them at the right time, they're going to take action on it. If not, they're going to read it and go, oh, this is neat, and throw it away. But at least now they've seen your name. I've actually had situations where the letters that were sent were hanging on the fridge when I went to meet with the person because they hung on to it. Because they were like, oh, this is good stuff. I'm going to hang on to this, and if we ever need somebody, we'll call then. But again, you can go super direct with a golden letter, and I'd be happy to share the golden letter with anybody that wants to know what that is. Or you can go a little bit less direct and a little more value add by doing something more along the lines of, here's the latest real estate news in your area, but don't just spit stats at them. Like, give them the behind the scenes, 1-page, simple, almost like a mailable newsletter that feeds them information they might want, that they're likely to read and not just get mad about and throw away.
Yeah, man, always come with value, right? And I think, how can I say this and be nice? I can't. Agents, a lot of them are mindless, and they're just looking for that exchange. Here I go again. They're just looking for the exchange. They want to quid pro quo, give you something to get something.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason they're mailing that letter out is so they can. I have pride in the product that I produce. I have pride in the videos that I do. It ain't going out if it's messed up. Same thing
Right.
with a net letter. Same thing with anything. It's going to be close to perfect. It's not going to be any visible blemishes.
Yep.
Okay, or not if I can help it. And so, if you're just there is a right there, you can win if you pick 1 or 2 neighborhoods,
Mm-hmm.
and every time you list or close something or pend it, you send that neighborhood, just sold another one, even if it's not in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden you become top of mind consciousness. But
Yep.
I understand that takes time.
Yes, it does.
That takes consistency. You are not going to. I've spent thousands of dollars. Had these beautiful friggin' 8.5 by 11 glossy things printed, mailed them out to the same 3 what is it? Everyday direct mail.
Yeah,
Hit the,
EDDM, everyday direct mail.
hit the same 2 carrier routes that I wanted in Bedford. I got out of my about $6,500 spend, I got exactly zero.
Hmm.
So, but I know another agent who hit the same neighborhoods over and over, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, and she closed a bunch of transactions. Now that's the mindless exchange kind of thing, because we want something, we don't know how to get it, we don't know how to provide value, so we do as Hannibal Lecter says, we covet. And so people just do the same thing. Even with my new listing, I got multiple emails saying, "Congrats on your new listing. Let's do this campaign for you. Hey, get these
Oh yeah.
postcards." Right? It's like, man, I can't even put a listing in without getting solicited from 12 different people.
Hmm.
Now, when you're mailing to your sphere, when you're mailing to your people, you definitely want to come with value. They don't want to be sold. They've already bought from you,
Hmm.
right? And realistically, I think the proper time to set up the referral and the conversation of the referral is when you're belly to belly with them.
Hmm.
That's when they like you and trust you the most. Then after that, it's staying in touch. But hey, did you see this? Hey, this new place just opened up. Hey, this subdivision was just approved. Hey, they're breaking ground over here. Being that person that is knowledgeable and delivering that to your sphere, I think is important. The golden letter is it is a quid pro quo, this for
It is.
that, but there's some power to it at the same time, because you have the one or two lines in there that are like, I have somebody for your property. That same line is in some of my drip campaigns.
Hmm.
So when I drove one of the people, to my landing page for home value, in there it says in one of the emails, we have people that want to buy your home right now. And so that started our conversation. So there is power there.
Totally.
But if it all depends. This is your cold audience. You can be a little bit more looking for the exchange.
Yep.
When you're working with your sphere that you already have, you don't want to send them the same canned BS. You want to be personal. Again, back to authenticity.
Yeah, no, and I think when you think about direct mail, there's your direct response direct mail. You want them to do something right now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what the golden letter's trying to do. If they're thinking about selling it all, you want them to call you right then and there. You want them to get that letter and say, "Yeah, got to talk to this person." And Gary Keller talked about make offers for immediate response, MOFR, and that's what that is. It's just direct response. He's basically recoined the phrase of direct response marketing, where you want people to see this and take action right now. And there will be a small percentage of people you send that to that will take action right now. Everybody else will read that. They'll see it as a basically a sales pitch. They'll throw it away. But that's fine, because from there, you send out 500 to 1,000 of those, you're going to get some appointments out of it. So, you're getting what you want. It's the exchange. Now, if you want to turn that into more of like a nurturing campaign to build your audience and continue to build your database, that's when you go with a softer approach, like maybe more like some market information or the latest news in the community, and you mail that to them as a way to get in front of them. And that, the call to action there maybe isn't call me, maybe it's go here for more information or go here to learn more about this upcoming event, where you then drive them to your website and they find your video. Um, so, a direct response call to action is going to be call me right now. A softer call to action might be more like find more information here, or opt in for something here. You're not asking them to do anything today in terms of sales. You're just asking them, if you like this, go here to get more of it. But direct mail is very powerful, both direct response and as a nurturing item, because you have flexibility on the calls to action. You can generate right now business, but you can also generate more names for your database that will give you a larger audience that you can continue to nurture and get business and referrals from.
I think there has to be a solid call to action.
Yeah.
Right now, don't get me wrong. Email and mailing, they have some of the lowest conversion rates, but they're also amongst some of the least expensive
Correct.
ways to generate. So understand that. And some of these things could be that you got a scan code on it, and that scan code to get their value lands on your Chime IDX website. Then they get pixelated. If they do whatever they do, then they're pixelated so you can retarget them, or they're
Yep.
bought into the concept. Um, but direct mail, to me, it's a strategy, and it's a long-term strategy. I think anything needs 6 months. Even
Mhm.
with our SEO and everything, we're like, hey, listen, you got to give it 6 months to see the results, because it takes time. There is
Right.
no simple do this, get that. There's not.
Correct.
Even with Zillow, it's not as simple as Here's my money, and I got a closing in 30 days. It might be 6 months.
Well, we saw somebody in a real estate forum the other day posted, here's the last 6 months of the leads I've gotten from, I want to say it was Zillow, maybe it was realtor.com, but, and literally there was like 30 of them and they were basically all bad, but one of them,
Bad number,
it
bad
was
email.
bad number. It was a rental lead. They were just calling with a question. They already had an agent. So you spent all that money over several months to get literally, one or two legitimate leads. But that's the nature of that industry right now, is that Zillow doesn't care how many leads you get. They just want to make sure they make their money, and they want to make sure whatever leads are in there get converted so that they can get their referral fee on top of it. So in many cases, those third parties don't necessarily care what you get. They just have an obligation to send you something. So they do, even if it's junk, but at least they're sending you something. So they're holding up their end of the obligation.
You know what Ricky Bobby Daddy said?
What?
If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with these listings. I mean, this home that I listed, somebody sold it to them in 2016.
Yep.
They didn't stay in touch, obviously, right?
Yep.
So if you're not first, you're last. So this person moving was on their radar. It's happening. Now all of a sudden, here was my video that linked over to wherever it linked over to. I don't share all my secrets here.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I started a conversation 2 maybe 3 months ago, and I didn't even call. I got a, hey, I'm interested in talking more. Do you have time? We can talk. Can you talk? Can you talk after 5 tonight? Call you at 5:01.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Yep.
Listen, earmuffs, all you team leaders out there. I'm not looking for buyers. I have no desire to work with buyers. If I got a buyer, I'm referring it out. I'm not working with buyers. I'm just not at that place anymore.
Yep.
I'm not trying to sell 100 houses a year. I'm not trying to have my name up in lights. I'm not trying to, get told, oh, you're number 1, number 2, number 3 in the state. I don't care about any of it. I'm going to sell 10 to 12 houses a year, listings, and that makes me happy. That's where I want to be. Then I can give good service on each particular one. I was there. I did the drone photography, met the photographer, gave him the angles that I wanted, put together some real nice content.
Mm-hmm.
Took me the half a day to enter the listing because I had to put the video on YouTube. I had to embed it. I had to, when I say enter the listing, I also mean creating the blog for it and the content around it and the thumbnail around it. Right. So, yeah, that's how I want to work. I want to work with a certain level of pride. I want somebody to look at my marketing and say, wow, that's great. But how did we get there? We got there because I was putting out good content, just simply talking about the community, simply talking about what the market's doing, right? Hey, if you want to, no obligation. If you want to see what your home's worth, just click on the link down below. And if it works for you, let's connect. If it doesn't, so say la vie.
Yep. Well, and that's actually a good segue to the next topic on here. I just want to wrap up lead gen. We talked about database and enhancing that with video, enhancing that with personalization. We talked about direct mail, both as a direct response option, but also as a audience building, community building, maybe more of a branding play. The last one is networking, which we did get into a little bit. Continuing to build out that network of people, using video to enhance with that, doing spotlights on businesses, offering interviews with businesses, continuing to showcase them and what they do is a huge way to get business, because what we find, and we've got a great case study with somebody we work with who, as you do this, as you continue to be seen by business owners with business owners and bringing value to business owners, they continue to introduce you to other people. And then you begin to get recognized in your community because you're effectively sphere hacking by having that business owner put share your stuff on their page with their audience, and then introduce you to another business owner who does the same thing. And next thing you know, when you look at the small business community in your area, everybody, you're connecting everybody, you're in front of everybody. And we've got a couple of partners that have had great success with that. One in particular, where when she goes around town, she's recognized. People are like, oh, I loved your video on this, or they know who she is. She's not from that market. She's not been in that market more than a couple of years. But because she's continued to show up in everybody's feed and in front of every small business owner, she continues to be recognized. And a big part of that is she continues to add value. So as you were talking about here a minute ago, Johnny Mo, getting into how you work and how you operate, that's a big component of personal branding. And one of the questions I see a lot lately is, What brokerage should I join? Will my business be better here or there? Which one would you join? What will the consumer like more? Should I join a team? Should I not join a team? And my answer to that is none of that matters. The consumer is doing business with you. They're picking you. In most cases, they don't even know what brokerage you're at. And if they do, it means nothing to them. But a big piece of your personal brand, Johnny Mo, goes to what you just said, which is how you operate. You know, Personal branding is nothing more than how the consumer perceives you. And part of that is in how you serve the client, how you show up to the client. When you provide them a great experience, personalized, high touch. I mean, I know a lot of agents who don't go to inspections, don't go to appraisals, don't go to closings. It's basically hi, sign here, sold, goodbye. That's not a great experience. And people see that personal brand as you're nothing more than a real estate sales mill. You just keep cranking them out. You don't care about the client. You're just cranking them out. Well, you're talking about Johnny Mo gets into actually providing good service, which is a big piece of your personal brand.
Yeah, I would rather be happy and proud and do what I want. Again, I'm not trying to be number one. I'm not trying to have 100 listings a year. I'm not trying to work that way. I did that.
Yep.
It didn't bring me joy because you're right. You become a coin operated salesman, and I don't consider myself a salesman. I consider myself a creative person. Now, again, these are the goals that work for me. I have several streams of income that allows me to do that. If this is your only stream of income, then I get it. Head down and grind.
Right.
But I'll ask you why.
Mhm.
What's the goal? It's just to make as much money as you can. So if you tell me it's to make as much money as I can over the next 5 years, so when I hit 50 years old, I can retire, or make all this money so I can buy investment properties and Airbnbs, and that's going to make me net 10 grand a month, and I'm going to live on that, and I don't have to work. Man, that sounds like a pretty good lifestyle to me, right?
Yep.
So to understand what your why is, but for me, at the end of the day, I want good personal service. I want to be able to walk into the next listing and say, "Look at this media package that we put together." Because I can promise you,
Mhm.
they ain't but a fraction of a percent of people that will beat me at the media game. I guarantee you that. I would even say,
No.
that, you know what I mean. Some of the stuff that we do, we're the Michael Jordan of, you know what I mean, or the
Yep.
LeBron James of. I mean, we're at that level. We ain't here to mess around. We're here to win. Even though LeBron didn't win,
Well,
you
you can't always win, but you've at least got a shot to very often, and you win, and you do win sometimes.
right? But that's what I want. I don't want to be taking 15 different phone calls all day trying to run around and just react, and that adds to a lot of stress. But for me, knowing what it is that I want to do, knowing what my why is, knowing what my focus is, it allows me to then build my business the way that I want, business by design, success by design, right?
Yep.
It allows me to do things the way that I want to do, the way that I enjoy them, because then it's not even like work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No,
But
it's very true.
if you're just so focused, head down, I got to get every listing because you're afraid to lose one. To me, that's Scrooge McDuck.
Yep.
I don't want to live like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. And it comes back to what do you want to do here? Do you want to just pound through as many clients as you can and make as much money as you can? Okay, then a lot of what we just said probably doesn't apply. You just need to keep looking for that direct response type marketing. That's going to be cold calls. It's going to be golden letters. Don't worry about networking. Don't worry about brand building. Don't even worry about your database because you're probably not going to want to spend the time on that because it's a long term nurture play. Just continue to go out there and grind, grind, grind. And you can absolutely go take 50, 75, 100 listings a year. And that's great. Make a boatload of money, work, you know, potentially all the time. Um, and if that's what works for you, great. The problem is I'd be willing to bet you're not generating an experience that people are going to really talk about. Certainly not an experience they're going to refer other people to have. What they're going to say is, "Yeah, I've got my house sold." And if that's the best review you got is that yes, you got their house sold, then it is what it is. But you've got to think about: Are you in this business to just sell, 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 sell? Or are you in this business to build a long term sustainable business where you don't have to be in that sell, sell, sell mode forever? Because if you do this right, if you build the personal brand, if you create the library of content, if you have the website, if you have all those things working, the content you created 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, people are still going to see today. You're still going to be generating leads off the stuff you created a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You're not still generating business off the cold calls and direct mail you sent a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Content is the only form of lead gen that lives forever and generates business for you potentially forever. Everything else is right now. If you sent them a letter right now and they didn't respond, you got to send them another one, because it's not like that letter is going to magically get redelivered over and over and over again to them where they're going to see it again. You have to continue to send it and to continue to interrupt them in hopes that you find the right time they're looking to do something. Whereas the content, as they continue to go on the internet and look around and search for things, that content continues to show up over and over and over again.
Yeah. So, and then you're back. Listen, jab, 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 right hook, right? Not all the when you do a direct mail or something else like that. Usually, we're looking for that response, that exchange. I like to call it.
Yep.
When you put out the content, there has to be that CTA at some point. But if it's
Right.
always just a CTA, because it's timing,
Yep.
right? It's timing. When I'm ready to buy tires and something shows up in the mail and I got the fourth tire free, I'm going to go to your website, right, and take a look and see if the rates are good.
Yep.
But yeah, if you only are always the call to action, again, you will burn out your audience. So that's why delivering something good. So when it is time, because it is all timing, and all of a sudden they're like, man, I see this guy everywhere. Because you ever not notice something, and then somebody brings it up to you, and then you see it everywhere, like Teslas, right?
Yep.
No, now all of a sudden everywhere I look I see Teslas.
Yep.
If I say, hey, see that yellow car, let me know when you see a yellow car, all of a sudden you're going to see fucking yellow cars everywhere,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. The
It's the same,
reticular activator.
right? It's the same thing. And that's why putting out that content, it lives on. You never know when somebody's going to see it. Then all of a sudden they get into the ecosystem, and through retargeting or just the way that the algorithm works, because you've engaged and watched somebody's video, then all of a sudden here I am. Hey, did you know that prices are high in Maine? And they're very high, and we don't anticipate that they're going to go. Here's the monthly snapshot. If you want to get your home value, go to nhvalues.com or whatever, right? Mainlife.com, whatever the freaking website. 800 different websites, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden they can go there, or the link's there, and now all of a sudden they can check it. I'll get 30 people to opt in. I'm only looking for one.
Right.
Right? I'm only looking for one. Then I'll be looking for another one, right? One slowly, one after another. But you got to deliver that consistent value, not burn out your audience. And you know what? My brand isn't even about me, to be honest with you. It's about the community. It's about Explore Maine Life, right? Let's go explore Maine Life together. Look, I got a listing. Hey, look, I ate fried seafood. Hey, I had chowder at this place and it sucked. Do you have a recommendation? Right? Um, and now all of a sudden I'm able to engage with the community. I came from as an outsider over an hour away and listed this home where I have friends that work in that market. Why? Because I have
Yep.
better mind share.
Yep.
That's the power of personal brand.
Yeah, and I had to laugh. I was talking to a listing agent over the weekend, a place that I had clients that were interested in, and the this particular home had been bought. So they purchased it like a year and a half ago with a different agent. And they're selling it now with this agent. So I asked the question of, where'd this listing come from? I said, I see they bought it with somebody else 18 months ago. And they're like, oh, it was a referral from a friend. I was like, oh, all right, cool. So what that tells me is that these people are thinking about selling their house. Somebody said, oh, you should talk to so-and-so, and cut that other agent out completely. Probably because that other agent never stayed in touch with them, and probably they never heard from them again. But what I found really interesting about that whole discussion was the fact that that's the power of a referral. By continuing to be in front of people, people continue to recognize you, and from that, they begin to refer people to you. So past client that had a great experience, somebody's been following along with you, engaging with you, somebody maybe from your database. It's very easy for them to be like, oh yeah, you should work with this person because they've got all these good things to say about you.
That's it, man. And that's what I want. That's what I want. My personal brand is a brand of contribution. We care about the community. Some of the things that we're about to start with Maine Connects and networking and stuff like that. That's a whole nother level. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother level. And I know people are saying, um, that's a lot of work. I don't have time to do that. You got time, but what you got is a whole bag of excuses of why you can't do it. So don't tell me you don't have time. But everybody's on. So many people. I don't want to say everybody, but so many people are on the quest for everything that they can right now because they have no definition to truly what it is that they want. And we know team leaders and business owners and managing brokers who all fall into this. And
Yep.
it's like, well, what do you want? I just want to sell houses.
Okay.
Well, how many houses? What's your production number? I don't know. I want to sell 100 houses. Well, do you want to sell 100 houses at 100,000 or you want to sell 100 houses at 400,000? I mean, they don't even know what they want. But they got awards and people look at them as like, oh, this person's
Right.
great and they got their shit together. I can promise you most of them don't.
Well, and the other part of it too is, do you want to sell? You want to sell 100 homes? Great. Do you want to compete for 100 homes, or do you want to have 100 phone calls of, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." And that's a big piece of personal branding. When you've developed that, when people know you and they've grown to like you and they've grown to trust you because you've continued to bring them good information, you shared with them great stuff about the community, about the small businesses, about the area. You built up that trust with them that you're giving them good information. You care about the area that you live. Now all of a sudden, it's not, hey, you want to come interview because I'm talking to three others. It's going to be, hey, would you come list my house? I think I'm ready. I've been following along with you. And I always make the analogy of, look at somebody like a Ryan Serhant out there. Do you think Ryan Serhant competes for a lot of his listings? I highly doubt it. I highly doubt he competes for many listings. I bet what he gets is a lot of calls of, hey, Ryan, you're my guy. Come list my house. Um, and I would imagine a lot of the agents out there that are doing something similar to this are getting a lot of those calls of, "You're my person, come list this house for me," because you've continued to give and deliver and nurture
I
and
know
add
who's
value.
freezing me or you.
I don't know. It's weird. We're back,
Probably me.
but and the other part about I'll mention about personal branding too is, another example. Ryan Serhant for years was at Nest Seekers as the brokerage. Most people would say, "Who is that?" Never heard of them because they were in so few markets. Now he's his own brokerage. But do you think anybody asked Ryan Serhant what brokerage he was at or worked with him because he was at a particular brokerage? No. They worked with him because of who he was, because he's somebody that everybody knows. He's probably the most well-known real estate agent in the entire world because
Mm.
of the personal brand that he's built. Now, yes, he was on TV and all this other stuff, which certainly helps. But again, gets back to media. What's the easiest way for people to know, like, and trust you is to appear in front of them and let them get to know you through a video means. That's incredible to building your brand because you can actually show people who you are long before they meet you, so that barrier is removed immediately.
Absolutely. And listen, it's 2023. You can be, do, have anybody you want. Okay. You can be anything you want. I'm not from the area. I'm telling stories about the area
Yep.
as I'm doing this, right? And I'm making blogs about the area. I'm making videos about the area. As I'm doing this, I'm walking right by offices, offices that are right downtown who are doing nothing,
Yep.
right? Who are doing absolutely nothing. And so you can be, do, have anything you want in 2023. But I really want to say this because somebody out there needs to hear this. Advertising is not the same as marketing.
Mm.
Marketing, personal branding, those kind of things. That's not advertising. Advertising is a specific call to action. Okay. You're
Yep.
trying to do something for something. That's why it is a CTA, call to action, or, people ask, what's your CAC, customer acquisition cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these things. That's advertising. Advertising, I think, falls under marketing,
It does.
okay, under the whole marketing of things. But marketing is more about the perception that you have to the general public or to the consumer, identifying who your avatar is and how to reach them and what your messaging is,
Yep.
right? Of course, advertising then is specific for a call or for something. And so when you look at it that way, you want your personal brand. It doesn't have to be KW, EXP, Remax. You use those things in the beginning to lean into, And I
Right.
do that too. Oh, we're the number one firm in the state, right? We got offices everywhere.
Yep.
So you can lean into that, but truly at the end of the day, you are the brand, and what separates you from everybody else is confidence.
Yep.
You're not going to say it any other way. It's going to be confidence. If you're meek on film, you're going to be meek when you meet the person. People don't want to typically work with somebody that's meek. They don't want to work with somebody that's overly aggressive either. So people are going to be able to tell through the content that you're creating and the messaging that you're creating, heck, if they even want to work with you. I don't like working with alpha people. You know what I mean? I always feel like they're just trying to sell me, right? And
Mhm.
I don't want to be sold. I want to buy,
Yep. Well,
right?
and that's a good point. Nobody wants to be sold. They all want to buy.
Yeah. So simply understand the value that you bring in, who you are, and have some confidence when you do it.
Well, I think
Right?
that's important. It's an important point to make too. Is a lot about your personal brand. The outcome of your personal brand is you're going to attract certain people that like you and want to work with you and jive with you. You're also going to repel people that maybe you don't want to work with or you're not going to jive with because they're going to see you and how you're portrayed and how you act and what you do, and they're going to say either yes, that's for me, or no, that's not. But what it's going to do is it's going to help you find a lot more people who are like, yeah, you're my person. I want to work with you. And a lot of other people are like, nope, that's not my person. I'm not going to work with them. But a lot of people that have built strong personal brands do not compete for much of their business because they've established that list of people that have been attracted to them that want to work with them.
Yeah. That's it. And anybody can do it. And
Yep.
anybody can look like a media company. And we'll go back to what Gary Vaynerchuk says, and I'll say probably on every podcast, Gary, because this is our methodology, and I don't sway from it anymore. I don't chase shiny objects. You need to consider yourself a media company, not just a real estate agent. When I put something out, it doesn't look like a real estate agent. It's not
Yep.
written like a real estate agent. It's not tacky like a real estate agent. And
Hmm.
let's face it, real estate agents put out some really tacky stuff. And so my
Yep.
stuff isn't that way. I won't let it be that way. I'm putting out good stuff, well written, that will be engaged with. But now that's my media library that lives on. So when somebody types antique home for sale or homes for sale in this town or who's the best agent in this area, well, because I've created content all around that, guess who shows up or
Right.
who has a chance of showing up? But you know who doesn't have a chance of showing up?
Yeah.
You
The people
guessed
not
it.
doing it.
You guessed it.
Yep. Well, it's like we went down the YouTube results a couple week or two ago, and you've got the number one ranked video for pretty much every town in Southern Maine because honestly, you're you're one of like three people that's made them. So when somebody goes on YouTube and searches for all these coastal towns in Maine, the first face they see is yours, talking about all the best things to do in that town. And that's powerful because that's going to continue to it's going to continue to capture people who are searching for what to do when they move to or visit that particular area. So,
And that stuff is living on. And
uh
I want to tell everybody this too. The channel that I'm doing this on
mhm,
was started in, I think, October or November. Didn't really start posting to it until November or December of
mhm,
2022. It's not that new. So the fact that I have a newer channel that's got 7,500 views on some of these videos, 6,500 views, to me, that's a ridiculously good. And the retention is great. And 60 plus
mhm.
percent of the views are on the smart TV in people's living rooms.
Right.
Okay. Now that's the longer form video. The short form videos are driving the long form.
Yep.
This, that, the other thing. But if we look back at Ken Pozak, right, and he's got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. He is the standard that everybody chases on YouTube and stuff like that. But if you look at his older videos from 3, 4 years ago, they still only have hundreds of views on
Mhm.
them. He had to crack the code, right? He had to crack the
Right.
code. I studied people. I learned from people. And then when Shorts came out, I think Shorts is the secret sauce to drive all the other ones, right?
Yep.
So even somebody like Ken in the very beginning, I mean, don't get me wrong, that was some groundbreaking stuff when he was doing it.
It was.
There was no answers there. And to this day, everybody's chasing. Oh, I have all these videos out and I'm not getting all these views. Well, are you putting out content that the consumer wants to engage in, or are you just putting out content that you think that they should be? And that's a classic problem in our real estate industry is either lack of knowledge or lack of understanding on consumer needs, wants, and demands. and you're just putting out what you think that they want because all you know how to talk about is fucking real estate.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, Johnny Mo. And that's the last point I wanted to make in this section was um, a big piece of our ability to communicate with people at a high level is to know what they want to know. And I talked about this with Cynthia on the live earlier this week, and that was, this concept of social listening is the as the gurus all call it, but really to dumb that down, look at what the people on your feed are doing. Where are they going? What are they interested in? What are they talking about? If they're talking about their summer plans to go to parks, well, go film some videos about all the great parks. If they're talking about beaches, go highlight all the beaches. If they're talking about new restaurants, go highlight the new restaurants because what that does is two things. One, if that's what's trending and what people are searching for, well, now your videos are going to show up. So if you know what people are searching for and interested in learning more about, you can make sure you're creating videos that are going to be right in the path of what they're searching for. But second to that is that all those trends and metrics and all that are gonna give your video a boost. But when you put this video in front of those people and you actually send that to them, hey, here's all the here's the best beaches in the area for those of you making your summer plans. They're gonna be like, oh wow, like this person gets it. They know what I want. They know what I'm thinking. And that gives you another level of trust. So not only can you hijack the trend by knowing what people are searching for and looking into, but when that video goes out, they're all going to say, oh, how did they know I wanted to know about that? How did they know I was looking for that? And what happens? Now they start sharing it and tagging people in it because they know that that person's thinking about it too. You can, if you just pay attention to what people are talking about and people are interested in and provide content that is in that sweet spot, that's when videos blow up and go viral or get a lot of views, get a lot of attention because you're answering the question they have right when they have it versus answering the questions they don't have. Because that's what agents do. We put stuff out that's not relevant to what the consumer cares about right now, rather than putting stuff out that actually is relevant to what they're talking about and thinking about and worrying about. So spend a little bit of time to understand what your database, what your target market, what your client avatar is thinking about right now and create content that fills that need.
Yeah, absolutely. And stop. Just stop. I hate the word leads. Where can I
Yeah.
buy leads?
I need
Really,
more leads.
you think that there's organization out there where you can give them money and they give you leads and you're going to go close them? I would own every freaking one of them. I
Right.
would own every one of them.
Right. That's all I do.
Okay? It doesn't exist. So if you can't generate your own leads, but the problem is everybody's always looking for the exchange, a lead, because that's the mindset that's been created. And I think it's truly a limited mindset. It's a salesman's mindset. It's you're nothing more than a customer service order taker at that point, right? And that's all you'll ever be is I want to pay you and I get a lead.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll pay 25%. You just keep feeding me. Listen, whatever works, I get it. Whatever works to help you get up over that hump. But you got to deliver value. Otherwise, you're gonna run your whole business. Your whole life will be the same way.
Yep.
Your
Yep.
whole life will be the same way. You won't get a freaking referral from anybody. I don't care how many houses you sell. If you don't deliver good value, if you don't deliver good service, if you don't have integrity, if you know what I mean, you got to deliver value. So that all comes through the content that you create. I would be creating content on digital and sharing it to social versus creating content for social. I don't give a shit about monetizing Facebook. I don't give a
Right.
crap about monetizing YouTube.
There's no money in it.
There's not enough. The amount of time that you need to invest in it to get $500 isn't worth it to me.
No.
You're stepping over $100 bills for pennies.
Yep.
Where and Facebook just stopped their monetization a couple months ago. So why do I even want to post a video
Right.
for a bunch of vanity metrics? No, it's cool and I do believe in it, right? Spare
Yeah.
hacking and stuff. But I've evolved at the same time. I'd rather create an excellent blog and share that to Facebook from my Chime
Exactly.
website. So when somebody clicks on it, they're pixelated. I have the chance to capture them or opt in. And heck, I'm even going to tell you some things. When Gary says, consider yourself a media company, right? I created my own banner ads for my own blogs. So there's my own banner ads, not somebody else's or anything like that, mine.
Hmm.
Search for all listings now, right? Even though I don't want to buy it, so I'll refer them out.
Imagine advertising yourself on your own stuff.
Right? Get your home value. Click here.
Yeah. Which is really, in theory, it's really like having an embedded call to action right there in the blog article. But
For
usually
yourself.
exactly, usually that would be like some random company that would buy that space. Instead, now you control the eyes of that consumer and they're only seeing you and your stuff, which is even better. They don't view the website as spammy because they're not getting attacked by all these third parties. They're only seeing you.
Right? And listen, I'm not going to click on another John B. Realtor site. I'm not going to click on another John B. Realtor Facebook.
Nope.
But when I can see something that's inclusive of my community and a little bit different is delivering good value, I'll click on that. And I get a lot of engagement. You've seen it since I started this in November or December.
Yep.
I mean, the engagement has gone through the roof. The views, the shares, the conversations, and now it's starting to pay dirt, man.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like groups are reaching out. Hey, can we collaborate? Hey, we'd love to have you come and do this. Can we see that? And you're opening the doors to networking with other organizations and groups and creators. But more importantly, now the public's like, hey, I love this place. You should go make a video there. And now again, like back to you're giving them what they want when they want it. They're telling you what they want. They're telling you what they want to continue to see to continue to engage with you. So just go do that.
That place is an overpriced tourist trap.
That was the best comment of that video.
Right?
And they're right.
Where would you suggest?
Yep. Exactly.
All right, so they gave me a name, and guess where I'll be eating tomorrow?
Yep.
On my way home from my successful open house.
Yep. It can literally just be that simple. So let's recap real quick, Johnny Mo, before we wrap up. So we were talking about lead generation and personal branding, really for any market in this live today. And on the lead gen side, let's talk 3 pillars. We want to talk database. The key to your database is to remember that they're being communicated to by a lot of people. So the better we communicate, the higher level we communicate, the more likely we are to keep them engaged and not get them to tune out. Because when they tune out, they either unsubscribe or they just start looking at something else and your stuff gets deleted. So treat that database, treat that network with respect, and actually curate content for them that's going to get them to stay engaged. Number 2, direct mail is a good way to get a direct response, an exchange type response with you if you want to go golden letter. If that's not your style and you want to use it to continue to collect names and put people in your database and get to know people, go softer. Give them market information. Give them a blog article. Send them, some kind of data with an explanation, and use that as a softer call to action. Instead of a call me right now, it can be more of a go here for more, or sign up here for if you like this. And lastly, networking. Get out and meet people. Easiest way to do that is to utilize video. Go highlight small businesses. Go sit down and talk to small business owners. Get their story. Tell their story. Share the best parts of your community, because that opens you up to the small business community. You become the person that's helping them. Law of reciprocity kicks in. They want to help you. But more importantly, it's the easiest way to get in front of your entire community and show them how much you care about it. And then on the personal branding front, it doesn't matter what brokerage you're at. It doesn't matter what team you're on. It just matters that the consumer knows you. They're picking you. They're doing business with you. So focus on how you show up, what you present, how you get in front of them, and how you earn their trust. Because ultimately, the best way to do that is through content. Content lives forever. It also helps to attract the right people and repel the wrong people. And repelling people is not a bad thing. So whatever you do in your personal brand, figure out who you want to work with, figure out who you are, figure out why you're doing this, and build your brand, build your content, build your platform and your ecosystem in a way that reflects that. Because the only way to build a sustainable business in real estate is to stop paying the third parties, take control of this, create your brand, serve people at a high level, get people to refer you and think of you. That is the only way you get control of this business and actually build something that is sustainable, that takes care of you long term, and doesn't require you jump on the lead generation rat wheel every single morning.
Yeah, and let's just expand upon that. This is our closing thought, is it?
Yeah, let's go with our closing thoughts here, Johnny Mo.
So everybody's heard of BNI, and you go to an area. Let's use Portland. There's a dozen chapters, right? So in my mind, yeah, you're building these relationships, but you're pigeonholed to how big that's actually going to be. You can do the same thing. The reason you don't is because you need a system, you need a book, you need somebody to tell you what to do. Have a free thought. do that same concept of connecting with businesses, build your power circle, build your inner circle, build your allied forces, whatever you want to call, and expand upon it and attract people to that. You attract them through what you're putting out on social media, on your digital assets and things like that, and you become a person of value. At the end of the day, it's about the relationship. Build relationships through video, digital, and social.
Yep.
Listen, I did a video in Saco for that Paulin's Auto,
Hmm.
and he invites me to his guys' weekend up in Eustis to film whatever he does, and with the games and stuff like that. I turned it down because I really didn't feel like driving to Eustis, not overnight. But anyways, he opened me up and invited me into his inner circle. His
Hmm.
friends, they're all from Maine. Okay,
Yep.
that's the opportunity that happens. And when you go, it's like, hey guys, oh my God, now I'm in with the circle. You'd make an awesome video for these people. You connect with them, you tag them all, and all of a sudden you got friends, right?
Yep.
We're after the relationship. We're not after just the sale. Matthew Ferry's got a great book. Um, I forget what it's called, but it talks about the conscious salesperson and the transactional salesperson. And so many people are out there just looking for that next sale, on to the next, on
Yeah.
to the next, on to the next.
Creating sales velocity.
Creating Sales Velocity. It's an amazing book. Sunit Argwell suggested that to me in like 2018
Yep.
in Boise, Idaho. And I've read and listened to it probably a dozen times since and have recommended it 100 times. That's what it is. I want to be that conscious salesperson. I want to have mind share. I want to be able, when somebody says, hey, we want to do this, either I can handle it or I know who can. That's how I run my business.
Yep.
Anybody can do it too. And I don't even like people.
Yeah. All right. My closing thought is, the highest risk way to run your business is to continue to pay these third parties that don't care about you and serve a billion other customers and people just like you, continuing to pay them to provide for you, your business. You are always one bad month away, one market shift away, one change of terms away from being out of business. And in the meantime, you don't control any part of the most important process of your business, which is actually the creation of the business that you have. So this is the chance right now to dive deep, build your personal brand, build your lead generation pillars, build your systems. And systems can be technology, can be process, can literally just be the schedule you work from. But now's the time to actually build this system, build this machine in a way where it serves you long term. Because what happened when the market shifted about 6 months ago is that everybody got, oh, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people got wiped out by it. Why? Because they had no sustainable aspects of their business. They were just running on the same exchange built platform, paying the same third parties. So I would highly recommend everybody build that personal brand, get in front of the consumer, give them what they're looking for, nurture that relationship at a very high level, and you will never worry about where your business is going to come from again.
I agree.
So
I agree
anyway,
with that. And I mean, at the end of the day, there's no safety net, man. And that's all anybody's looking for is a little bit of a safety net. But ain't nobody going to give it to you. Ain't no
no.
broker going to give it to you. If you're on a team, you may get fed some stuff, but when you leave the team, you're starting from scratch usually,
Well,
right?
and even if you get fed some stuff, during the market shift, maybe you're not getting fed anymore. If there isn't enough to go around, it won't go around.
Yeah. Now, and if you get locked out of your CRM, then what?
Right. Right. Yeah. Now's the time to put the controls in place, take control, run your business like a business owner, run it for the long term, build something sustainable so you're not at risk of another market shift ruining your year.
Yep. Sounds good.
So with that, we're going to call it a day here, Johnny Mo. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And we'll see you all again next week. If we can help in any way, you know where to find us. Keep your eyes open in the Community Leaders Facebook page. We're popping stuff in that group all the time. Just trying to add value. So with that, have a good weekend. See you, Johnny.